Pay close attention. This isn't something you see every day.
Welcome back, everybody, and today I want to talk about the AMK Pro Series Starscream model kit by Yolopark. Now, when I say model kit, this really isn't a model kit. It's just the simple fact that it's just easier for them to get away with selling it for the price that they sell it for, which is a good thing, and calling it then calling it an action figure. So yeah, so here we have it, just like Megatron and Optimus. Here you have this one here. Now this isn't the, I know they have a different series that isn't AMK. It's like and it comes with a different stand. Doesn't come with the lights, doesn't come with the diecast. But this is the one that has the diecast metal, like Megatron and Optimus Prime. And as you can see, we have some beautiful artwork here on the slip cover of the box, and then it shows right here how Starscream's canopy can be removed. So that's pretty cool. And then let's see, on the side here it says Transformers, and then on the back we have some beautiful artwork of the actual figure, if I can fit it into my frame. And there's Starscream right there. Now this is just a slip cover, just like Megatron and Optimus. With theirs, you just slip it right out of the box, slip cover right off. And of course, you have this awesome looking artwork of Starscream right here. And then it moves over to the side. Of course, let's show everything off here. Transformers, and then it says 40 years of the Transformers from 1984 to 2024. So I've been waiting for them to come out with this figure for a while, which of course they have. I just now picked it up. Actually, my wife picked it up for me off Amazon. Thumbs up to her. Thank you very much. Let's get this guy out of the box. Let's take a look at all the parts and pieces that he comes with, and let's talk about him. Here's Starscream in the tray with everything. You want to make sure that all his pieces and parts are there. His different face sculpts, all that goodness is all there. So you have that one, and then underneath the first one, you have the secondary tray, which comes with all the other stuff, which we will go over all this stuff together. Now, not to mention, you also get this, which you can scan, and it'll take you to Yolopark or whatever the case is. And then it comes with this really nice booklet, and it tells you on how to put everything together. So with that being said, let's get these pieces out. Let's get Starscream together, and let's have a conversation about how he is. Starting off, let's take a look at the head of Starscream here. So he comes with this laughing face on, and of course you can see his eyes are red, so that way when you don't have him on, it doesn't look like he has the dead lights in there. But you pop this off, be ever so gently, because it has these tiny little pegs in here, right here and here on the sides, and you have the big one that goes in the middle. But then you have the screws, right? 2 screws that you have to take off, and you have to put the batteries in. So, and the batteries that go with this, really quick, let me just show this off so that way you know which ones to pick up, are right here. They are the CR9273V. So those are the ones you want to pick up. I believe it's Optimus or Megatron that they have the same exact ones that go inside their head. I could be wrong, but I will double check that. And but I'm pretty sure, because I think the one was bigger for Megatron's fusion cannon compared to what went into Prime or Megatron's head. But those are the batteries that you want to get for this figure. So I'm going to take these out, take that out, put them in, and then we'll start putting this guy together, and then we'll go over. Here's the type of batteries you want to use. The CR927s. These are the ones that fit in Starscream's head. Now, one quick little thing, you want to make sure you have yourself like a little plate or a plastic tray or whatever the case is. Even though these batteries that are these screws that are really small, if I can get that to focus in, you can see that they are magnetic, so they will stick to the screwdriver, so you do not lose them. But still, when you are taking them out of the back of his head, make sure, I can't stress that enough, that you do it over a plate or someplace, because these are very small, and if you lose them, well, they could be gone. So yeah. Okay, so I'm going to try to attempt this while I'm on camera here, but removing this bottom faceplate, you want to just come right up underneath the chin right here, and kind of just wiggle it. It's a little tough because of the little pegs that are in there. To kind of just wiggle to get it out of there. So this is the best way that I find to do this. You know, if you got something that you could probably put underneath there. Yeah, it's not easy. So you want to be careful because those pegs in there, there it goes. And you pop it off. So you got these two little pegs right here. If I can get that to focus, those two little pegs that go into right there. And then of course you have Starscream's eyes. And then you have the different faceplates. So then you have the secondary faceplate, which I'm just going to kind of sit in there. He's kind of got a little bit of a grin going on right there on his face. And then, so I didn't put it all the way on. As you can see, it's still trying to fight me. I'm trying to get it out. And these are small. If you drop them on the floor, you know, you'll be able to find them. Just be cautious, that's all. And then here is his straight face look. So whatever look you find that you want to have with him, that is the look that you want to use. Now me, I like the cocky grin that he has, that he comes with right here, the laughing face. So this one here is probably the way I'm going to keep him on here because, you know, it's Starscream. Of course he's laughing in Megatron's face always. Now, let's start putting this guy together. Now we have him all together. You can see he has his null rays, his wings, his legs, everything put together. Now let's take a look at this guy here all together, and the paint. I love the fact that they actually have him all scraped up like he's been going through it. Now this piece right here on the chest and these up here are all die cast. This is die cast, and down here on his feet are die cast. And as you can see, they have the chipping and the scraping on him, even here on the plastic. They did a beautiful job on the legs, everything, you know, even on the baby blue of his hands, of his arms, I should say, he has the scraping. So may have been that he's been going at it with Megatron or Autobots or whatever the case it may be. We all know that the most treacherous Decepticon is Starscream. Now the wings, they do move back, so they are articulated, so you can move them back like this if you want to, or just keep them straight however you want. When you're posing them, they get out of the way. You know, the head looks up and down, so he has some articulation in the head to cock to the side, give him a little bit more expression. This canopy does come off. I don't really feel the need to pop this off. I don't know the reasoning why. I don't think I'll ever take it off. I'm not really interested in looking at the inside of the cockpit, so I'm not even going to attempt. But the chest plate does open up right here, and it reveals the missiles, which he does come with an effect for that. He has an null ray effect, and he has a blast effect that goes into his engines down here. Not engines, but his afterburners, I should say. And then, of course, just looking at the whole figure itself, I mean, he is cartoon accurate, and I am a sucker for cartoon accurate looking Transformers, even though he does not transform. But I do have the third party Starscream who does transform, so I can have him in jet mode and have him like this as well. So that's pretty cool to honestly say, to put him on the shelf. Now, only one of the null rays will activate the lights, and I believe it's this one here. I could be wrong. And of course I am. I grabbed the wrong one. So it is the one on his right hand, not his right arm, not his left. So it's this one over here. You just pop this bad boy off, and it is on a ball peg, as you can see. And boom, his eyes will light up. And that has the magnetic part of it in there. These are articulated, so you can turn them and move them however you want, up and down, side to side, a little bit with articulation. The cool thing about this is his null rays are on his arms just like the other ones, but they have shown them in the cartoons and in the comics where he can take them off and hold them along with all the other jets. Now, as far as him having any heft, he's pretty light considering he does have the die cast that's in him. I think that they've done a beautiful job when it comes to getting everything accurate with the Decepticon symbols on the wings, the actual colors, everything with Starscream. Just like Megatron and Optimus, they did a beautiful job. Now, when they do Soundwave, that'll be awesome. But until that happens, it is what it is. But this guy here, these hands are articulated. So you have the forefinger that is singular, and then the rest are all together. So when you go to close the hand, which mine are kind of tight right now, as you can see, I do have it a little bit articulated here. As you can see, the rest just kind of fold under, and then there you go. You can have him standing there, pointing, laughing, whatever the case is. But yeah, I think Yolopark knocked it out of the park when it comes to, pardon the pun, when it comes to these guys here. Now, moving his arm, it does have a butterfly hinge in here, so you can move that. So you want to articulate his hand being outward, you can do so. Have him pointing, have him laughing, and pointing that null ray, getting him pointing that hand at somebody, and there you go. So that actually looks pretty good. As far as articulation, he does have a bit of an ab crunch right there, which is nice because you can get him, you know, moving around, so to speak. You know, since he's in the air, you can have him kind of one leg bent, the other one straight down, whatever the case. Do a little something like this. These do move, these flaps here. So they do adjust, so you can move them up, and the side skirts do too. Same thing with the back. So you want to have them kicking you can actually have Starscream kicking upward with a high kick, which is actually pretty impressive to do. And get it, turn his head this way. Let's see. So let's move him a little bit around. Everything's nice and tight too, I have to say. So I can't complain about that. But if you wanted to have him doing like a front high kick, let's see. Let's move this skirt out a little bit. There we go. Move that out a little bit. And there you go. Let's get these hands moved the way they need to go. And then you can have him performing a high kick. And yes, the lights will turn off after a while in there. It's not the best, but you can turn it over if you wanted to. Make it have him doing like a side kick. But he can do a nice front high kick. He can actually do the splits pretty much a lot better than most Spider-Man. And I don't have the skirt pieces pushed all the way up out of the way. But as you can see, they do move. And this is Diecast down here as well. I almost forgot to say. And he does have, he does have a drop down hip. So you can actually get more articulation out of that if you wanted to. So now you can really get him doing a nice high front kick if you wanted to. So yeah, talk about kicking somebody in the afterburner. There you go. All right, so he does come with a few other things. So let me get him situated here after I just showed off some of the articulation. And let's show off the accessories that he comes with. He doesn't come with a whole lot of stuff, but he does come with some things that are cool to actually have him, that come with him, so some effects. So let's get those out and let's take a look. All right, so just like Megatron and Optimus, we have Starscream here with his stand and typical Yolopark stand. It's not, Decepticon symbol. You have other holes, and these do connect to the other stands, so that's cool. So like, you want to pose them out, you can actually connect the stand that Optimus or Megatron comes with to this and have them all whatever. Now they are nice and tight with the screws here, so you can set them however you want, take it off, move it around. You got different options for different heights, and of course this opens up and holds them. Will I use it? I don't know. Depends on how I want to set it up. But that's one of the cool things that he does come with. Just like I said, just like Megatron and Optimus. And then he comes with his rockets blasting off, which I'm going to show them off here in a second. And then you have some afterburner blasts, and they can be like this as well. Put it together, and it could be like that, or you can use it for his null ray blast as well. I don't really care for this part being for his null ray blast, but this part here by itself, sure. This part being for his afterburner, yeah, I can see that happening. That's pretty cool. They're all just casting in purple. So let me just do a quick couple things here, and then we'll show them off. All right, so here's how it looks with the blast effects coming out of his boosters like that if you wanted to, and then you can plug these in here like so to make it look like he's, just propelling off, I guess. But if you take these out of here, okay, come on, okay, when you take them out of here, this plugs in over his null ray, which, like I said before, I really don't care for all that kind of blast right there. This little round piece, right, just this piece right here by itself would have been suffice if they would have made that to go over the null ray. Would have been fine. Would have been cool just to see that kind of blasting like that. But they didn't do it that way. So however you choose to do whatever you want to do is fine. And then if you go and you open up this here, this plugs in. How's this go? This goes, I think it slips. I'm going to have to take a look because I can't really see. But let me take a quick peek. I think it slides over the little cross piece right there. But give me a second. So here's how he looks with the missiles and with the null rays firing off. So yeah, it's cool. It's an option. It's something you can do if you want to. So I don't see why you wouldn't want to. It depends on however you want to pose them and stuff like that. So yeah. All right, so even as you can see, the double jointed elbows can bring that arm all the way up to where he can actually salute, which is pretty cool when it comes to the articulation. It actually can go all the way up to where he can actually be rubbing the back of his head if he wanted to. His knees, they're double jointed. They come all the way up. And even with the hefty booster on the back, they still come way, way up. That is some great articulation. The fact that the skirts move, you have a swivel here, and down here when it comes to his feet, you do have that articulation where these do come out and they do swivel side to side, so you do have that. Just take some time to pull them out and, you know, work them the way you want, because it does have a generous ankle articulation here as well. And it does come, you know, it goes in and out. So you do have that. It's a bit stiff moving forward and backward, but that's to be expected because of the way that it's in there with the booster and everything. And the fact that you have, you know, like I said, his rocket sticking out. The fact that everything comes down here, these side wings are folded over. Everything looks phenomenal when it comes to this figure, I have to say. I cannot say that enough. You know, you have the removable cockpit. If you want to move that off of there, you can. Probably got to take something to pop it off of there. I'm not going to, like I said before, but you can do whatever you want. The fact that these, you know, swivel up and down on that ball peg is very nice to get to move the way that you want. And you have the alternate different face sculpt. So Yolopark knocked it out. You know, they are, you know, banging them out when it comes to these. I mean, and to some people, non-transforming Transformers are not their forte. But I have to say, if you already have them and you want to use them, you can feel free to do so. Just like this. I mean, you have your cartoon variations, right? You don't have to pay 200 and some odd dollars for a cartoon variation. You pay 60 bucks, right? And you get yourself a nice looking Starscream or Megatron or Optimus Prime. Because, listen, I know when I started collecting the third-party Transformers, they were going for $40, $50 a pop, which wasn't bad. And then all of a sudden when COVID happened, forget it. Forget it. These guys went off the chain. Now Yolopark, yes, they're making these Transformers model kits, I should say, but they're so cartoon accurate and they're great to have on the shelf. You know, eventually they'll make others, you know, Skywarp, Thundercracker, which are the other two brothers, you know, Soundwave, you got Jazz and Wheeljack and all those guys eventually, if they choose to make those. But this is, you know, my cup of tea right here, which is the G1 version of the Transformers. Now, this may not be your cup of tea, but if it is, then great. And you don't have to spend tons and tons of money to actually get a cartoon accurate looking Starscream. You pick this guy up. Now, they do have one that does not light up. It's just a regular. Now, I know they have them in a smaller version than this. I think they're like $20-something. You can pick up as well. Or you can get same size here without the lights and the die cast. It's just all plastic. It comes with a different type of stand. Still well worth it, right? And just to compare him, this is how he compares to Shredder from NECA. As you can see, he's just a little bit taller. Now granted, it doesn't matter what you want to do, where you want to put him. It's on whatever you want to do. It's your collection. It's your display. You do what you like. Now, the fact that, like I said, I'm a sucker when it comes to the cartoon accurate looking Transformers. He comes with some cool things, some cool effects. And now I have somebody to turn around and give Megatron a hard time. You know, because Starscream is always giving Megatron a hard time, trying to take over, talking that smack. Always. And then never being able to back it up except for the one time. And if you haven't seen the 86 Transformers movie, go ahead and take a look. But, you know, in the end, Megatron still gets the last laugh. But that's that. Now, the other cool thing is that the same guy that did Cobra Commander's voice in the G.I. Joe cartoon, the animated series from back in the 80s, did the same voice for Starscream. He did a few other characters. I can't remember their name, you know, which ones he did, but he did do a few. And that's really cool. I mean, that you have that, you know, aspect to tie in the two, considering that's how these were supposed to go back in the day. Now, when it comes to his waist, does it swivel? It does. It turns a little bit, but then this gets in the way. You can pull up on it just a little bit because that's how it goes together. Nice, like I said, with that. And then he does have a little bit of tilt. Not as much as like Prime or Megatron had, but he does have that. So I almost forgot to mention that. So yeah. But otherwise, guys, I hope you enjoyed this review of the Yolopark AMK Pro Series Starscream. Guys, like, subscribe, share, leave a comment down below. Always hit the notification bell so you never miss out on anything new. And I'll catch you on the flippy flip.